Hi folks, good evening. How are you all doing? It's been a minute. I've not been here for what? About a week, 2 weeks, somewhere thereabouts. I took some time. So it's really nice to see all of you. What was going on with me? Work. I had a lot of work things going on. Hi Monifi, Janelle, Debbie, hi Marcelin. Hi Carol. Yeah, I in the time that you all haven't seen me. Hi Francella. Hi Joseph. I got a haircut because I felt like it was time to trim the hair off and thing. I have no, was it we under starters orders? What are starters orders? We are going, this is going to be a very relaxed show this evening. In that, yes, I have lots that I want to talk about, but we are rushing it down, how it hang it swing, how the show go it go. So hi Kyle, hi Rainman, hi Allison, hi Nola. I am seeing that I have the option here where I could just add people to the broadcast. I never tried that. One of these days I must try it, I must click on it and see who willing to just be part of the broadcast. Just so let me see who brave enough to just be part of the broadcast with me. If I do that, hey, there we go. There. So hi Carol Guevara. Hi Marcelin. Hi Jennifer Cornwall. Hi Juanita. See how I'm learning things? Hi Monifi, thank you very much. Yes, I agree. The shave down is looking quite sweet. Jennifer Nathan says that we inside. Hi Jennifer, nice to see you. I liking your short haircut too. Hi Alyssa Jack Elcock, how you doing? Nicely done. Okay, good. So I'm figuring things out. Hi Stacey Lamb. Hi Margaret. Nice. So you see, okay, so I was warned, I was buffed actually. You all remember Julian Rogers? Julian buffed me a day, messaged me after I'd done a show, and he said, don't experiment while you are on air. But I find sometimes, the little experimenting. Hi Camille. Does, make things, a little bit interesting. So I am understanding better now what add to broadcast means. Hi Rainman. I agree with you. Share the live. Share the live. Build the live. Build the live. Okay. So folks, this evening, what do I want to talk about? Let me tell you what is I plan to talk about. Where the poster? Tech Guy just make some real boss posters to me. I ain't gonna lie. So I was talking to Tech Guy this week and I said to him, I don't know if to say it's a problem, but one of my observations where the United National Congress is concerned is that as a political entity, as a political organization, and as a political organization that claims that it wants to return to office, because just this week, Wednesday evening there, where they would have been talking about the new police service commission and voting on the new police service commission, Rudan Munilal gets up and he says, we are the government in waiting. Now, all oppositions just say we are the government in waiting. But I was thinking to myself sometimes, like, what degree of delusional is the United National Congress? Because in Trinidad and Tobago, where and how do they think that this sitting opposition, this current opposition, has enough credibility to it that it would get votes from anybody outside of its voter base? Because I don't see how the opposition is in a position to even get support from, let's say, the people that define or describe themselves as middle voters or marginal voters. And I certainly don't think that what happened in, let's say, like 2010 and back in 1986, where people, PNM voters, right, people who would traditionally vote the People's National Movement, would have gone over in large numbers to vote another party in because they are upset at or upset over what is going on with their specific government. I don't think that there is that kind of disgust and discontent within the People's National Movement voter base to get people to swing support. So I look on at the United National Congress, and I mean, I would be the first person to admit, I just pound the UNC, and I just pound the UNC hard. And I pound the UNC hard because I deserve better. Me, nobody rest all you, but I deserve better. And when there are things that I see the sitting government is doing that I'm not keen on, I will lash the government too. You all know that. I mean, I do some lashing at the Attorney General and a couple other persons in the last few weeks here that I know many people were not thrilled about. But you know what? I know that I deserve better. And once I feel I deserve better, I'm going to ask for better from people. So I look on all the time. And look, Jason Wilson, boy. Let me add Jason. Hi, Jason. Nice to see you. What time is it where you are right now? Right. So, I have been paying attention. Kamla start this motion. Anybody notice that the October Revolution is started yet? Am I the only person who ain't noticed that? So I would have come out since September the 24th and said, the President on foolishness, the Police Service Commission on foolishness, the Attorney General on foolishness, and so all of them need to step down or step aside because they ain't doing their work properly. After I would have said that, Kamla jumped out, hot and sweaty, to basically say pretty much everything that I had said. Thereafter, she said that she was leading a motion in the lower house to remove the president. She comes and the motion fails. It collapses, and it collapses colossally. It's one of the last things we would have looked at a couple of weeks ago, the way in which that motion fell flat. Then she decides that she is leading off an October Revolution. The October Revolution is started yet. We in the month of November. And Kamla's position, the United National Congress's position, has gone from one goalpost to the next goalpost. It is at the point where the goalpost somewhere up in the North Pole, because 1 minute it was the president has to go. Then when that motion fell flat on his face, she then shifted to Faris Al-Rawi had to go. Then when that didn't pick up enough steam for her, she went to Rowley must go. And then when that continued to not get any steam at all, she then shifted to no property tax. And date after date after date after date, they keep saying they're going to have this, they're going to have that, they're going to have the other. The next thing I've heard is that we're down somewhere at the end of November. So the very last day in November is when they're having the October Revolution. And the October Revolution that they pushed down to the 30th of November has now become about property tax. So I want all you to understand something. This October Revolution that Kamla and her UNC are promoting is nothing more than an extension of her politics of outrage and anger, because that's the only politics that Kamla can push anymore. Back in 2010, I don't know if you all remember, back in 2010, it was all about unity and unity and unity and the people's partnership and the people. All remember that? Right? Where, you know, we're working together and we're going to be accountable to everybody, etc., etc., etc. And from the time she lost all them set of elections that she lost, because the last time she won anything was 2010. She won a general election, she won local government election. Thereafter, she lost the THA, she lost the by-elections in the various constituencies, she lost the local government election, then she lost the general election. And from 2015, from the general election campaign of 2015 to now, when she had Rodney Charles spinning the wheel of fortune around the savannah, from then to now, it has been a campaign of hate and outrage. And invariably, the campaign of hate and outrage has been centered around colorism, classism, racism. And we're going to, I mean, we've discussed it before, but we have to discuss it again. And the reason we're discussing it again is that it's important for us to get it properly well analyzed in our head, just how weak the United National Congress's philosophy as a political entity is. There are never any solutions. No solutions are ever offered. And if they come and they say there is a solution, the solution invariably makes no sense and boils down to attacking whatever the sitting government has put in place. So you have a series of events where the opposition relies entirely on gaslighting, obfuscation, outrage, anger, and generally fueling discontent. And the reason they have to fuel discontent amongst the population is that they have nothing else to offer. They've got no solutions to offer. They have no options. There are no alternatives. There are no new ideas coming out of the opposition. None. If you look at what the opposition has been offering to the country from 2015 to now, there have been no new ideas. There have been no solutions. Any problem that crops up, there is no offering of a solution. But what they do, what they're very good at, is fueling outrage against any ideas that have been put forward by any other group, any other entity, especially the government. And why it's important to do that is they don't want a situation where anybody at all feels good, feels contented, feels as if progress is taking place. So you mustn't feel that way. So it doesn't matter if you are living in a space where you have access to easily 5 types of vaccines, and there are more vaccines in the country than the citizenry here needs. The United National Congress is going to make that an issue. Too many vaccines will become a problem. They're going to take that and they're going to make that into a problem. It doesn't matter that we would have set up a parallel healthcare system here to protect people's health. The United National Congress will find a way to make a parallel healthcare system, which would be considered a brilliant idea in any other part of the world. But here, the UNC will talk about it as if it is a failed idea and a failed solution. Why? Because it's important to keep the electorate consistently thinking that nothing here works, that nothing here makes sense. Even after we have put in place as a country, as a society, even after we've put things in place that other countries then come and follow and do, that other countries take pattern after, we still don't see the merit in what we have done here, because the opposition is going to consistently push the narrative that nothing that is being done here, no kind of management at all, is enough. And it's something that I want you all to pay attention to, because the opposition does it, and the opposition gets assistance from mainstream media. So there are all kinds of important, useful, innovative ideas and solutions that have been put in place here, and we don't think about how important and useful they are. Let me give all you a real good example. You see those food baskets that NAMDEFCO was giving out for the better part of last year into this year to help persons out? I don't think you all understand how little access to fresh fruits and vegetables people in other parts of the world suffer from. I don't think you all understand that. In the United States, you have long conversations and debates about food deserts. What is a food desert? A food desert refers to a community or a space where people don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables on a regular basis. There are whole communities, especially poor black communities or minority communities in the United States, where people don't have access to markets, right? The way we have access to markets. We know, put your pot on fire every Saturday morning, every single NAMDEFCO market is open. I don't want to say every single municipal market, because it's not a municipal markets I'm referring to. We have the municipal markets, yes, right? And so you have that taking place. We have those municipal markets, but we also have the NAMDEFCO markets that allow farmers, what they do is they subsidize the tables and the spaces at which farmers come and sell their produce. So you, the customer, can get produce at reduced prices. So it's something that the government is supporting. It's supporting farmers, and it's also supporting the consumer. So you in a position, once you get up on a Saturday morning and you make your way down to any one of the markets. I have one in Diego Martin. It had one in the Queen's Park, Savannah. It had one in Central. It had one in, I think, Macoya, one in Arima. And I've forgotten which parts of South Trinidad there are these NAMDEFCO markets. But I know there are NAMDEFCO markets spread out throughout the country. And every Saturday morning of life, you could go to these markets and get food, fresh food, at a very reasonable price. Yes, point 14 as well. Thank you very much, Kobe. So you're in a situation where something like that is taking place, and we don't think about the value of that as a solution. And let me tell you why it's a very valid solution to think about and to feel proud about. When I go to the NAMDEFCO market, and I go to market at least twice for the month, right? At least twice for the month. You go to the market at least twice for the month, and I am in a position to, for less than $1,000, at least twice for the month, buy the majority of items that I need to feed myself with for the month. So if I go this week, let's say if I go to the market tomorrow, I will probably spend about $300 to $400 in market, and that will carry me for a week and more, right? More than a week. If I decide that I'm doing market on a weekly basis, I will spend about $300 a week, roughly $300 a week in market. It might be less than that depending on the week and depending on how much stuff I have that is leaving over. I don't know how many people can sit down and say that for $1,200 a month they can feed themselves 3 meals a day, 7 days a week comfortably. I can say that based on how I use money, based on how I spend my money and where I spend my money. This is not me telling all you don't go to groceries. I'm not saying that. I am saying that if you want to be able to eat healthily and to eat reasonably on a daily basis, there is an option. And the option is the market system that we have here. But we don't talk about it in that way. This is just an example, right? This live is not sponsored by NAMDEFCO in any form or fashion. I am using NAMDEFCO as an example of something that we are doing here at the level of the state, something that a ministry is doing for the citizens. It will have some people that benefiting from it and some people who not benefiting from it. Everybody, once you want to access these markets, everybody can access the markets. Everybody could eat fresh and relatively inexpensively from these markets. So why don't we talk about this as if it is something good, a good solution that we have put in place for the entire citizenry? Why we don't talk about it as an achievement? Why is it that every day of life you get up and you only have negative things to say about the policies that have been put in place? And the reason you have to be saying negative things about the policies that have been put in place here is that if for one instant you have people beginning to think hey, we ain't doing too bad, you know. We ain't doing too. We are making such a mess of things, you know. The minute you have something like that taking place, problems and pressure. So as an opposition, you're not going to show up and talk about the country in a positive way. You're not going to talk about any of the policies that have occurred in a positive way at all, because you have to constantly have your voter base and the general population feeling unsettled, feeling discontented, feeling unhappy, and feeling angry. You need that politics of outrage on a daily basis. And part of championing that negativity is to continuously remind people of the things that make us different. Right? Continuously, we have to remind people of the things that make us different. So we have to talk about class differences, color differences, ethnicity differences, geographical location differences, religious differences. And when you get called out on it, when somebody come and tell you what you carrying on with there is foolishness, your first instinct, your immediate instinct is to lash out at them and call them names. So I'm talking about myself here now, right? Every single time I call out the opposition on their foolishness, or supporters of the opposition on their foolishness, the first thing they just do is send the trolls to my page. Like how they send the trolls to the live here this evening. Olia, welcome the trolls. I want Olia to welcome the trolls. Welcome them. Say hi. Welcome to News Source. Enjoy Olia stay here this evening. You're going to learn plenty. Right? Welcome them. And you know why I want Olia to welcome them? Because the more they show up on my lives, the more reach and audience I have. Right? Big them up. Let them build the live. I want the trolls and them to show up here and build the live, so that when it's done, it's tens of thousands of views I would have had because of the trolls. So welcome, trolls. Hi, how y'all doing? Stay mad, because nobody cares about Olia and Olia madness at this point in time. However, I need the audience, I need all of you to understand why it's so critical to the United National Congress that we stay angry and we stay discontented. And after we get past this session today about why it's so important for the United National Congress to have us staying angry and staying discontented, I want all you to start to examine all your daily existence and think about, where are the things that I am grateful about? Where are the things that I am meant to be, that I can be happy about? Because there are lots of little things that is be happening. Lots of little things. I am in a position where it had all kind of vaccine I could take. I have friends living in other parts of the world who are not sure when they're going to be in a position to get a vaccine. Whereas I am here, I fully vaccinated since June, July of this year, and in a position now to go and take a booster shot. I know tomorrow morning I could go in the market and with $300 to $400 buy enough food to feed myself for a week. I ain't saying $300 to $400 US dollars, you know. I'm saying $300 to $400 TT dollars. Buy food to feed myself for a week. I am in a position when this live done, if I feel like going for a stroll to exercise, I could go for a stroll to exercise. If tomorrow morning I want to go and take a walk to exercise, I could go and take a walk to exercise. There are lots of little things on a daily basis that I am in a position to do that gives my life meaning. But for some reason, Kamla Prasad Bisesa and them don't want you all to be happy. So let me start. Let me get into the mindlessness that is this opposition and supporters of the opposition. Where to start from, boy? Let me start here. You all saw this story this week? Anybody saw this story this week? So let me tell you what it prompts the Ministry of Health to put that out. Suzette Lowe. All I know this woman. All I know this woman. So this is Suzette Lowe. For those of you who don't know, this Suzette, which she partner Philip, there's a point in time she and Philip was close, like ring on finger. Now all of a sudden, she and Philip fall out. They can't saddle horse and thing at all now. In any case, Suzette Lowe put out a post this week, and this is a thing that is, it is partly amuse me. It is also partly irritate me. Suzette puts out a post, and she puts out a post to basically, where is it? Imply that in the midst of the pandemic, Terence Deyalsingh was out on a jet ski. Now, all you watch that picture, let me make it big for you to watch it. Right? Watch the picture. It had no part of that picture at all, except for the white hair that looks like Terence Deyalsingh. There's nothing about it that looks like Deyalsingh. Further to that, there is nothing in the because of how the picture has been taken, you can't determine who it is or who it is not. But she puts the picture up knowing that it will cause a stir, knowing that there are people who will share it around and start saying, look, you see, the rest of us on lockdown, we can't go to the beach, we can't enjoy ourselves at the rivers, and look what is going on with Deyalsingh, right? Deyalsingh out in jet ski and wetsuit and up and down, and without anybody having any information at all, without there being anything clear about the image, right? Because there is nothing substantial in the image to indicate that it is Deyalsingh. That is the kind of chaos that the Suzette Lowes and them of this society like to promote. So I then decided to myself, I'm going to put out a post that will rile she up, because I know that it's get riled up when I put up my post, right? So I put out a post saying, Suzette think all people of color does look the same. Because you see a man with brown skin and silver hair in a wetsuit out on the water, and you decide, is Terence just so? You just all Indian men look alike to you, Suzette? That's what you're trying to say? Because Suzette, all Indian men do not look alike. I can tell the difference between every single Indian man I know, right? And my father has brown skin and silver hair. Basdeo Pandey has brown skin and silver hair, and at no point in time did I look at that picture and think it could be Basdeo Pandey, it could be Terence Deyalsingh, or it could be my dad. No, at no point in time did I look at that picture and think that any of the Indian men I know with gray hair, silver hair, out on the water. But we all know that the point of it was to create mischief, to create chaos, to create a bacchanal on social media, have the image circulating left, right, and center, and have people talking a pack of shit on social media, right? So that's what was going on there. And because they know how gullible their supporters are, they also know that their supporters are very happy to engage in talking a set of foolishness on social media. So one time, the communications unit at the Ministry of Health had to take time away from important work, compiling data, that kind of thing, to put out a press release basically saying, no, this is not the truth. It is not the Minister of Health. He is not breaching the public health ordinance. Because you know how we stop, right? You know how we stop. Then, who is the next person? It have a next person. Actually, before I go into that, I want to come back to this. Suzette and Philip does amuse me. I'll tell you why Suzette and Philip does amuse me. Because Suzette and Philip, in one breath, just be cussing PNM and PNM supporters, right? One breath, cussing PNM and PNM supporters. And then, when they get fed up of cussing PNM and PNM supporters, like you say that they get up 10 o'clock in the morning and they cuss PNM supporters at 10 o'clock in the morning. After they finish cuss PNM supporters 10 o'clock in the morning, at 10 minutes past 10 a.m., they just then put out posts to talk about how much they like black people, how much they support black people, how much they want to do for PNM supporters, and how much they feel they need to reach out and embrace PNM supporters. And you see that kind of bipolarism, that kind of digital bipolar behavior. I just look at that digital bipolar behavior and think to myself, I wonder how many people fall for the foolishness. I wonder how many people just look at the digital bipolar behavior of Philip and Suzette and actually believe, actually fall in, and actually fall for the foolishness they carry on with. Because I'm telling you something, if at 10 a.m. they cuss PNM supporters, and then at 10 minutes past 10 minutes later, they put up a post to talk about how much they want to help and support black people. Bet your bottom dollar, 10:15, they're cussing somebody who of my complexion again. That's the kind of foolishness that's been going on. Digital schizophrenia with the likes of Suzette and Philip. And these digital schizophrenics do that because it's all part of the chaos narrative. All part of the chaos narrative. The whole idea is to have you constantly unsure, unsteady, questioning yourself, double checking. What is really went on there? I thought 10 minutes ago she was cussing me. How come she love me now? Or I thought last week Philip was vexed and say he ain't had nothing to do with the UNC again. What is going on now? Digital schizophrenia, right? That's what's going on with them in Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse. Digital schizophrenia. And I want you all to remember that. Digital schizophrenia, and the whole point of digital schizophrenia is to have you, the persons who are reading the posts and following them, consistently unsteady, uneasy. Hi, Colin Bagan. Let me add. Where Colin? Y'all check out Colin behavior. So let's welcome Colin, because Colin is an example for me of one of the type of UNC trolls that we tend to get, especially on my page, because people like Colin show up on my page to say things that they can't substantiate. Because you think Colin have any information at all to prove that I being paid by anybody? None whatsoever. Colin giving him out license because Colin can. Colin giving him out license because Colin is one of those persons who probably has a fake profile, or probably has a fake picture, or probably doesn't even live in Trinidad and Tobago. Colin also knows that it will take a while for things to pass through the court system here to prove that he has defamed me. So what will Colin do? Colin will come with his cowardly self, jump up on social media and say a piece of foolishness like this, as if I need to be paid to say any of the things that I say here. I don't need to be paid to say any of the things that I say here. But as Colin, right? Colin might be Suzette's little boyfriend, for all I know. Colin might be one of Suzette's fake profile, for all I know. Who knows? One never knows. But let me get back to the issues that I want to discuss. The next person I want to talk about is this lady. Anybody knows who this lady is? Hi, Pamela. This lady is actually an author. Her name is Niala Mirage. Niala wrote this book. Niala wrote this book called Just Like Heaven, or Like Heaven. The first time I met Niala, she was in Trinidad promoting this book. So that's how I know who Niala is. I know Niala as an author. I believe Niala used to be the wife of Surud Rambachan, if I'm not mistaken. So Niala is on social media, and Niala spends a lot of time, again, saying very nasty, angry things about persons who resemble my complexion, and also persons who are supporters of the People's National Movement. So this is how I first met Niala. Niala eventually, so because I would have seen her on social media, when I started observing her posts on social media, I began to notice a particular tone, a particular tenor. Now the thing is, if you read Niala's book, like Heaven, the book is very, the person's approach in the book, the author's approach, is very liberal. The person seems to be embracing, seems to be open-minded, you know, all kinds of positive things. So I'm there looking at the posts on social media, and I'm thinking to myself, this isn't the person that I would have met at the book launch for this book, however many years ago. Then it eventually got to the point where Niala and we had a couple exchanges. And all you know me, my mouth hot. As a matter of fact, let me say it properly. My mouth is hot, right? I don't take no talk from nobody. I also don't put up with foolishness and bullshit from anybody at all. So when I started seeing some of the posts from Niala, from time to time I used to run up on she threads, right? And comment and thing on her threads. But I have since become a bigger, better person. And I've stopped going on people's threads. I don't really go on people's wall and things so now. If I go on people's wall, it's like Anthony Morgan Beach wall. Who else wall, boy? Vonette from time to time. People who are friends of mine, I will run up on my friends' walls. If you're talking foolishness, me running up on your wall. I could deal up with you on News Source if I feel like dealing up with you on News Source. The other day, somebody sent this to me, and I want all you to watch the comment and watch the comment good. All you could see the comment properly from there. I feel like I need to put it in front of my face. So let me embiggen this comment for all you. You all remember last year, actually no, I need to end small and last year, I had started doing lives from my living room, right? I hadn't yet converted my spare room into a studio. So this would have been in the middle of the pandemic, and I'd be doing these lives. So I'd done a live. I can't even remember which is I talk about in that live. In any case, somebody took a screenshot. Somebody called Frame Shaibi. Let's look at it. So Frame Shaibi puts this up, and is about me asking about doubles, right? So earlier this year, after just 2 months ago, October, when the budget was read, and Imbert would have announced that there are a number of items that was being added to the zero rated list, right? That they were going to be removing VAT from. And oil was one of the items on the list. I know that flour is also a zero rated item. I don't think chana is a zero rated item. Either which way. Because the materials, the majority of the materials for making doubles, the price increase in any form or fashion. You know what? I want to, let me close this off. I want to make this point, and I want to make this point very clear. The cost of making doubles, the materials, the cost ain't gone up too much. Well, at least they ought not to have gone up, because oil is now VAT free. Flour, to the best of my knowledge, is VAT free, and NFM put out a release saying that they ain't raised the price on flour. I am not sure what the price is on chana, tinned chana, or even not tin chana, because it's not tin chana. Them vendors go be using. Them vendors go buy like chana by the pound, right? Pounds of chana and soak it and whatever. In any case, the materials for making doubles, I'm not aware that the price going up, right? Curry is VAT free, Jira and thing now VAT free, all of that, all of those things VAT free. So when I saw a story that came out saying doubles vendors, not all, some doubles vendors were raising the price of doubles from $5 to $6, I asked. And I asked because as a Trinidadian, I from here, I could ask about things, I could talk about things that impacted me directly. So one, I from here, this where I born, this the passport I have. Doubles is something I just eat on a regular basis. So when I hear a story or see a story saying the price gone up by $6, and I know all of these efforts are being made to keep the price of food down, I don't think that there is anything particularly odd or strange or untoward about me asking questions about doubles. But let me tell you something. Let me show you the degree of nastiness that is reflected in the microaggressive comments that come from some of these supporters. So let me take a look at it. And let me add myself. Right. So I asked a question. Why doubles increasing by $1? Because $1 is a lot of money to increase anything by if the item is $5. Once you do the maths, you will see the percentage increase that $1 is, right? So I asked a question. Was the grounds, was the reason for raising doubles by $1 when the price of cooking gas ain't going up, the price of flour ain't going up, the price of oil ain't going up, the price of Jira, curry, none of those things, the price ain't going up. Everybody want to know why. I want to know why doubles price increased by $1, but I have a word to say on KFC. I don't have a word to say on KFC's delivery prices for a number of reasons. One, I don't eat KFC. I is not a fast food girl. I have never been a fast food girl. I is a cook food in my house girl. And when I'm not cooking food in my house, I go out and buy doubles. The other thing is delivery price, right? The price of delivery, delivery is very different and distinct from the cost of making an item. So what delivery drivers or what KFC delivery is costing cannot be the same thing, cannot be compared to the price of making the item. So if, for instance, KFC had said they were raising the price on fried chicken and raising the price on biscuits and raising the price on fries, I would ask the same question. I will ask the same question because I'd be wondering what has happened with food prices for KFC that they need to raise the price on these items. Me ask nobody about the price of delivering doubles, you know. Me and ask nobody about the other costs associated with doubles. I ask, well, what has happened with food prices so that the price of doubles must raise? But you know what's the issue? The issue is how dare somebody of my complexion ask a question about doubles? Because people with my complexion should only talk about fried chicken. And you know what's the irony? The irony is that they are accusing me of being racist by asking a question about the price of doubles but not asking questions about the price of KFC, and not seeing how racist it is for them to assume that I have no right to ask a question about doubles but should only ask questions about fried chicken. These bitches don't even know when they are overstepping their boundaries. That is to tell you how bad things are. It's scary. It is downright scary how ignorant the United National Congress and its supporters are when it comes to the degree of race baiting that they carry on with. Right? So let's get back to why I talked about Niala Mirage. The goodly Niala Mirage on this, listen, This post done racist already, right? It's racist because of the content. Why she want to know about doubles increasing by $1 when she have a word to say on KFC delivery? Nobody missed the references to fried chicken and black people there. Nobody. I didn't miss the references to fried chicken and black people there. But to think that's all? Oh, no, 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 no. Miss Niala Mirage, right? Who thinks that she is the standard when it comes to intelligence and intellect. This is the comment that she will put on. She says, why Indian don't raise the price of their hair too, lest she get a heart attack? Niala, 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 Niala. Honey, there has never been a moment, there's never been a time in my life when I have envied the hair texture of any other ethnicity. There has never been a time in my life when I have felt that I wanted to wear anybody else's hair. I have, on occasion, put on wigs for kicks. Right? And even if I wanted somebody else's hair, that's my choice. And you don't get to shame people for wanting to try those things. So this is where, for me, it gets critical. Critical in that UNC and UNC supporters, I don't even think they grasp the level of hate they carry on with when they make these comments. I don't think they understand. I don't think Niala, for instance, grasps that hair and hair texture is a deeply personal, deeply political, deeply divisive issue. That people's hair and hair texture has been so intertwined with identity and how they feel about themselves and how they feel about identity, that that's not an area to go to. And the thing about it is, if you feel that you're going to insult me by talking to me about hair and hair texture, honey, you're barking up the wrong tree. And you know why you're barking up the wrong tree? Been there, done that. I have had hair, long hair, and I have short hair, and I can grow my hair out because that's what hair does. Hair grows. And I don't have those issues. I don't have those issues. And if you think that making a comment about hair is going to make me feel embarrassed and make me feel ashamed and make me feel subhuman, you have another thing coming. Because you had to be subhuman to be digging that deep into your bowels to raise up hair as a race issue for me. So I paused and I thought to myself, what manner of foul human being does Niala Mirage have to be to decide that I want her hair? No, I don't. And the price of hair, if the price of hair went up, it's not going to give me a heart attack because I have my own and I like what I have. I'm cool with it, right? But it made me think about what else is going on within the minds of persons who support the United National Congress and who think the way in which Niala thinks. We live in a society where historically Europeans made persons of other ethnic groups, especially persons of African origin, feel embarrassed and ashamed about their complexion, feel embarrassed and ashamed about their features, you know, their lips, their nose, feel embarrassed and ashamed about things like their hair. And I look at these comments and I think to myself, the Niala Mirages and the Suzette Lowe's and the Philip Edward Alexanders, and I'm eventually going to get to her, the Kamla Prasad Bissessas of this country, will eventually want people with a particular texture hair, particular fullness of lips, particular width of nose, particular complexion to vote for them. They will. And if and when they feel they can't get those persons to vote for them, what they will have to do is demonize those persons to keep their voter base, intact, right? And Nyala and they make life very difficult for persons of East Indian descent who are not like them. Because I want to remind you all of that. I want to make that point. That's a point that I need to make. There are lots of persons of East Indian descent who don't think, who don't behave, who don't act the way the Nyala Mirages of this world just think, behave, and act. But when they come out and they carry on in the way in which they come out and carry on, the loudness, the stridency with which they say nasty, hate-filled, racist things, it's hard to remember that not everybody thinks and behaves like Nyala. Another reason that it is hard to remember that not everybody thinks and behaves like Nyala is because of this lady. So I was really glad to find this picture today. And let me tell you why I was glad to find this picture today. Well, let's see what it is Kamla have on in that picture. Is spiritual Baptist. It would have been a spiritual Baptist Liberation Day. It would have been close to then. And Kamla behaves like most other race beaters that I know. She comes out and she will say and do things that are quite racist. So she will talk about the blank man on the other side. She will talk about duncy head PNM children. And right after she does things like that, and this is how you know she is an ex-gaslighter extraordinaire, she will then come and dress up in ethnic garb, African ethnic garb, and parade herself like a blasted mass band going down the road. And it's one of the things that upsets me, because Kamla thinks that what she needs to do is pappy show other people culture. That how she makes herself popular, how she makes herself acceptable, how she makes herself come across as she is one of us, is to surround herself with token black persons, as well as to pappy show black people's culture. So she will put on emancipation time, she will put on ethnic, African ethnic wear. Spiritual Liberation Baptist, for the Spiritual Baptist Liberation Day, she will again put on ethnic wear. And with the same mouth that come in to give people greetings and talk about her brother and sister, she will then call people Oreo. I will never forget that. I will also never forget let me tell you, the night she spoke about Avinash Singh running for the People's National Movement in Chaguanas West, and she said, they have taken one of ours. And I paused and I thought to myself, but Avinash is a Trinbagonian like everybody else here. When you say they have taken one of ours, what does that mean? Why is there this insistence that you can't be of a different ethnic group and position yourself as a supporter of the People's National Movement, or put yourself up as a candidate for the People's National Movement? And it was around that same time that she talked about Duncy PNM children and that sort of thing, right? And I thought to myself, this lady have a problem, because she and all have a certain amount of schizophrenia. But her schizophrenia is a very deliberate thing. Again, she knows how to mamagai people. So she knows is say one thing out of the side of your mouth and then, say a next thing out of the next side of your mouth. And so that's why she will call people blank and call people Oreo, and then put on the clothing, ethnic ethnic African clothing and stand up in the parliament and get on like if it's the Queen's Park Savannah stage where she really weighing herself. And I don't like that, because then what you're doing is you're making a mockery of people's ethnicity, because you can't respect and appreciate people for what they are, but you will then borrow their costume and put on their costume like if you could put on people's skin. You can't borrow people's skin. You can't borrow people's reality and wear it only when it is convenient to you to wear it. So that's part of the reason I can't take on Kamla, because I find her very fake. I find her very deceitful. I find her very deceptive, and the way in which she uses race and race baits, I find it quite disgusting. So that being said, homegirl come this week earlier this week and accused Anthony Vieira of being a massa. So this is Anthony Vieira here. All you know this gentleman? This is an independent senator. Actually, no, let me put the picture on this side for you to see him. Let me small up Kamla a little bit there, put Kamla there. And put Senator Vieira here for you to see Senator Vieira. So this is Senator Vieira. So we started the program and we were talking about how Kamla have 1,000,001 goalposts, right? And the goalposts shift. It shift from October to November. And when it get to November, it might shift to March 2022 for all I know. And 1 minute she wanted to move the president, and then next minute she wanted to move the prime minister, then she wanted to move the AG. Now is about property tax, blah, 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 blah. Kamla comes this week after Senator Vieira would have gotten up and he would have made a very important point. And he made an important point. It's linked to this that took place here. So let me just close this off and remind all you this thing that took place. Oops, come on.
Must confirm the attendance of members of the House of Representatives and the Senate by way of roll call. Clap.
Right. We reached the spot.
Mr. Richards. Present. Mr. Vieira.
So this is when the vote started to take place for the motion against the president. As a matter of fact, let me rewind a little bit, because I want all you to see how the opposition get on, right? I want all you to get a sense of how the opposition got on.
Mr. Mark.
Present, but under protest.
Ms. John.
Present on the protest.
Ms. Lachmidian.
Present under protest.
Mr. Nakid.
Under protest.
Mr. Leiter.
The undemocratic proceedings we have ever seen in the Parliament of Germany.
Mr. Leiter.
Present and under protest.
Mr. Roberts.
Present and ready to debate, madam.
Mr. Richards. Present. Mr. Vieira.
Present.
Dr. Dayal Singh. Present. Ms. Dunarain.
Present.
Ms. Sipasad. Mr.
Name, first name. What's first name? What's first name?
Members.
Y'all remember that? All remember that behavior? The minute Shari Sipasad, independent senator's name was called, and the way they carried on in the parliament and asked, who vote for you, who vote for all you? We know who vote for us, but who vote for all you? Right, good. So Senator Vieira, where is he? Look at him, so cute. So Senator Vieira he bring a motion against the opposition. Well within his right to bring a motion against the opposition. And he brought a motion against the opposition because of their behavior, the way in which the opposition bench attacked the independent bench. Now I want you all to remember something, because part of what Kamla did is depend on is that we don't understand our own governance system here. We don't understand how our government is structured. You have the government bench, you have the opposition bench, and you have the independent bench. And I want to say this: nobody votes for a senator. That's not how it goes. You have the lower house, and the persons who are in the lower house are persons that would have been, they're the ones that voted into power. The people who are senators are appointed. So MPs are elected, senators are appointed. And what the president, the role of the president in this, is to find senators, and she has the option of 9 independent senators, to find senators from a range of different interest areas in the country, and put persons there to represent various interest groups, because the opposition is going to obviously represent opposition interests. The government is obviously going to represent government interests, and so you have independent senators there to bring a particular degree of balance to the house, to the upper house. So when you have persons from the opposition side getting up and attacking the independent bench, what they are doing is attacking your democratic structure. And I need you all to understand how nasty that is, how dangerous that is. That the opposition has decided that they're not just going to be attacking the government on a regular basis in the parliament now, you know. The opposition has so lost its ever-loving mind, right? Kamla has so lost the keys to her brain that she is now attacking the independent bench in the parliament. Nobody is supposed to attack the independent bench. You are supposed to interfere with the independent bench. The independent bench answers to the president and the president alone. So you come with your motion to remove the president, and it was an ill-conceived motion, poorly conceptualized. You come with your motion, and when the parliament is doing its due diligence and taking the vote, you then decide to have your MPs and your senators jump up and boo and attack the independent bench. If for no other reason than that, you see what just went on there with that motion? That's why it had no way there will be any support coming out of my mouth for anything that have to do with the opposition or the UNC. Because the membership of the United National Congress supposed to get up now and tell Kamla she on foolishness. And the only reason they will not get up and tell Kamla she on foolishness is that them and all don't even understand their own governance structure. So Senator Vieira, on behalf of the independent Senate bench, would have decided that he's moving a motion against the opposition leader for what she did. What does Kamla do? Kamla get up on she Monday night forum, and I could only imagine that she got up under a serious amount of liquid fortification. As a matter of fact, let me put water in my mouth to say it. I pretty sure she had to get up on that platform drunk Monday night and talk about Massa Day done. I need all you to understand how racist and insulting that particular comment from Kamla is. Massa Day done is a statement, is a comment that would have been made by Eric Williams when he was premier. And he would have made it in reference to Europeans here who would have been landowners, right? They would have been the persons that owned land, that would have benefited from the settler population, where they get land on the basis of how much slaves they owned, and they get land on the basis of the complexion of the skin. So if you're white, you get 32 acres, and if you own slaves, you get 16 acres for every slave that you own. So Eric Williams would have, at the point of independence, said Massa Day done, as in the colonial period is over. We have put an end to us being owned by other persons. So people ain't owning people here no more, and Britain does not own a colony anymore. That's what he would have made that statement in reference to. So when Kamla Persad-Bissessar comes and decides that she's going to be using a statement that Eric Williams made in reference to people who traditionally were landowners, right? People who come and take land from people, people who owned people, and you use that to reference this gentleman here, right? And you use that to reference this gentleman here. I don't think she understands. Maybe she does understand, but I don't think she cares about how racist that statement is. Because what Kamla basically did by using Massa Day Done in reference to Senator Vieira is to make the comparison that because Senator Vieira is light-skinned, it means that he is the equivalent of somebody of European descent who owned slaves here. Right? So when you say something like that, what you are doing is relying on people having simplistic interpretations of things like color. You are assuming that people are going to look at Senator Vieira, look at Senator Vieira's complexion, and automatically assume that Senator Vieira is white. Senator Vieira, by virtue of his last name, is of Portuguese extract. You all know how the Portuguese came here? You see, if we used to have things like Arrival Day that would allow us to commemorate all of the groups that were here, many people would remember immediately that persons of Portuguese descent in Trinidad and Tobago did not come here as landowners. East Indians arrived here as indentured laborers in May of 1845. Persons of Portuguese descent, and Senator Vieira, by virtue of his last name, would be of Portuguese descent. I'm not saying that he came back then, but let me tell you when the first set of persons of Portuguese descent landed in Trinidad and Tobago as indentured labor. 1846, May 1846. So persons of East Indian descent arrived here in May 1845. A year later, a little over 200 persons of Portuguese descent from the Azores Islands came here as indentured laborers as well, right? The same bond contract where you come, you work on an estate for a certain amount of time, and when you finish work on the estate, you have one or two things you could do. Either you could get land or you could get your passage to go back home. So when I am hearing Kamla Persad-Bissessar referring to Senator Vieira, who is clearly of Portuguese descent, as Massa, I had to say to myself, but Kamla mad and she ass. Why would you do something like that? So the Portuguese persons that came in 1846 came from the Azores. Thereafter, we would have had Portuguese persons coming from Madeira. So we've had persons of Portuguese descent here. 1846, 1870, 1930s, and just after World War II. There are 4 waves of Portuguese immigration to Trinidad and Tobago. Let me repeat that for you. 1846, 1870, 1930s, right after World War II. Some of them would have been of Catholic origin. Some of them would have been Protestant origin. I think we have some Presbyterian Portuguese here. But my point is, none of them came as persons who owned land or as persons who owned enslaved people. None of them came as that. They would have come here, certainly in the 1800s, they would have come here as bond labor. After that, when the ones that came in the 1900s would have come in the 1900s as small petty traders, right? Small business, owning shop and that kind of thing. But my point is, for an opposition leader, you are a person that positioning yourself as a prime minister in waiting, right? Because you have Munilal talking about how the opposition is a government in waiting. So if the opposition is a government in waiting and Kamla is a political leader, Kamla is a prime minister in waiting. And listen to the kinds of nastiness, listen to the kinds of filth that comes out of the mouth of somebody who positions herself as a prime minister in waiting. So you have an independent senator getting up and moving a motion because of offensive action taken by you in the parliament. And after he has taken that action that he is constitutionally allowed to take, because what she tried to do in the parliament was unconstitutional, he is doing something that is constitutional. You get up, stand up in front of your Monday night forum under liquid fortification and call the man one of the most racist things that you could call somebody of light complexion. You decide to call him Massa. Kamla, all I could say is, go long, Gil. Go long. I hope that you and your political party understand clearly the foolishness that you're carrying on with. You know why? You see this politics of outrage that you are entirely invested in? This politics of making people feel unhappy and unstable and constantly angry all the time about the space that they're living in, it is going to backfire on you and your supporters. I know you don't believe it, but nothing that has come out my mouth does ever pass not taking place. So I am telling you, you continue with your foolishness, and you and your political party will feel the backlash of the very politics of outrage and anger and dissatisfaction that you are promoting. And y'all, that is where I am going to wrap things up. I will see you all on Sunday. Sunday, we're going to delve into some history. That's what we're going to do on Sunday. We're delving into some history on Sunday. So all of you that came and joined me and spent time with me this evening, thank you so much for spending time with me. And I will see you all on Sunday. So it was nice. It was lovely. Take care, folks.
Well, yes. I sure you know what time it is. I sure. It's donkey time.